So it's recording, so we can start.
Hi, I'm Diane Fuchs.
And I'm Mallory Mayer.
Welcome to episode number 7 of
The Backyard Fence.
We're a mom and daughter team bringing you wellness wisdom across the generations.
While we're in completely different parts of the country, we have this virtual fence where we meet to chat about many different health topics.
We invite you to join us every week at our backyard fence.
Well, today is our first video podcast, and we're doing a video. Of course, it'll be on iTunes like regular, but we're also doing a video that will be posted on the blog at thebackyardfence.org, because what we have to talk about today is visually relevant. So we thought that we would branch out and be adventurous and do a video this time.
Yes.
So we have an interview, a special interview today, and I guess you can just jump right into the intro and bring our guests on.
Okay. Well, I would like to introduce our special guest for today. Actually, our second guest for the podcast, but our special guest today, Deb Arndt.
Yay! Hi, everybody.
She just happens to be my sister. And out of my 4 sisters, she is the closest in age to me, being only 1 year and 24 days younger than I am. So basically, I've known her my whole life. And as we were growing up, we always shared a room together. And she holds a bachelor's degree in special education and a master's degree in
administration and leadership for education,
both from Kent State University. She's been in the teaching field for 27 years. Yeah, wow. That means she started teaching when she was like 2. But no, I'm just kidding. And she has taught
mostly special education, but I've taught everything actually from preschool to adult education at a community college.
So why she is a guest on our podcast today is our podcast is all about health and wellness, of course, as you already know that. But it's not only about what we put into our bodies in the way of food and supplements, but also what we put on our bodies in the way of products and also what's in the environment. So 12 months ago, just like
12 months.
A year ago, she made the decision to stop using harsh chemicals to color her hair. She had been coloring it black for quite a while, right? How many years had you been coloring?
Since my 30s, 40s, started coloring my hair with different products, and then
so for 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And she decided to go gray, and to go gray naturally, not by stripping her hair and then dyeing it with a gray color. Mm-hmm. And even though she's my younger sister, she has really inspired me to do the same. So you can kind of see how I'm going. So along the way, she began developing this philosophy about self-image, which I think is really applicable too to our health and wellness. It just goes hand in hand with a healthy lifestyle. So I thought maybe you could tell us what inspired you to go on this journey, on this health journey.
Okay. Well, basically, I was very, very tired of dyeing my hair. I had black hair, and as you can see, it was coming in really, really white. So I developed what we call the skunk line. And so to hide that skunk line, I literally was dyeing my hair probably every 2 weeks. So the chemical were, that was bothersome to me. Sometimes chemicals make your scalp itch and things like that, but you never know, I'm using them frequently. So where are they going? And also, I was kind of motivated too by this new trend, and if you're going to embrace gray or silver right now, it is one of the latest trends that hairdressers are actually having young people come in and pay very, very big dollars for this.
Which is unbelievable.
Yes, it is unbelievable. So I just thought, well, mine will be natural and it won't cost anything, but how do I do it? So I researched YouTube some, and I really didn't find one way that I thought I could do it, because I didn't want to use chemicals in the process, and a lot of people do. So I came up with an idea that if I dyed just the part in my hair, that it made sense to me. Now imagine everything's black, okay? And if I only kept dyeing only this part, the top layer would remain black and the bottom layers would start growing in like stark white, is what I was seeing. So as that happened, month after month, you know, it truly was working. It was hiding the cap, is what they call that. And a lot of people struggle the most with, how do I grow my hair out without having this cap? And so you can see this line here, this line, demarcation line is what they call that. And right here is what is left of my black hair. And if I just really just go with that one little layer, because that's all that's left, and then it is totally grown in. So everything grew in underneath really nicely. And the pattern of my hair is, it's white and kind of white on the, I don't know what you call that, your temples, I guess. Yeah. And then it gradually goes back into different gray colors, and silver color. And then it's kind of the darkest in the back. So, and I noticed by looking at other people with gray hair, that's a very similar pattern.
Mm-hmm. I see that.
Yeah, yeah. So that was my motivation, basically being tired of chemicals and tired of dealing with trying to look young, you know, like every 2 weeks.
Yeah. That's really
renewing your youth.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's very time consuming.
Yeah.
Have to do that. So you made that decision to do that. Making a decision is one thing, but then actually doing it can be pretty hard.
Yeah.
So what was your greatest challenge with going gray naturally?
All right. Well, there were several challenges actually along the way. And one thing that I decided to do was create kind of like a video blog, just do a 5-minute video once a month. And I felt like that would keep me honest, and it would keep me from going back if anybody happened to watch it. So it ended up that I was getting a lot of feedback. So then I did feel kind of like, well, I'm going to let people down if I dye my hair. So resisting the temptation to dye the hair is a real mental challenge. Some of the other things are, I struggled with the fact that I felt like I was looking older. So, or at least in my mind, I felt like, oh, you know, it equates, gray equals old. So then I started looking around at everybody during this process, including my sisters, or if I was at the grocery store or wherever I went, I was always looking at people's hair and comparing and going, you know, that's a really nice color. Oh, her hair looks so nice like that. Yeah, she looks so young. And then I would see pictures of myself not too long ago and just have that mental challenge of, oh, I liked myself before and I don't like myself now, you know, that kind of thing. So it's a mental challenge. Also, when I was around some friends, none of them had gray hair. So I actually even went through a mental challenge of feeling like, I don't think these people want me to be around them. No, because maybe I'm embarrassing. I'm telling you, I'm just being honest. And I knew that wasn't true, but then again, it was kind of like, you know, you go out, you're at a nightclub, and here's this old lady with you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's just one of the things. And
well, especially when you have two younger sisters that are 10 and 11 years younger than you.
Yes. And a lot of times my friends range from, you know, in their 40s, young 40s to, you know, to my age. But honestly, I have, I think, one friend who's totally, you know, gray, and all the rest, you know, either dye their hair or maybe they're not gray in color yet. But and then the other mental challenge was just having the patience to see it through to the end, because it does take a lot of patience. But some of the physical challenges, there weren't as many physical, but it gets to the point, like after 5 months, I decided, okay, it's time to start blending in what's underneath, because this was all black. And so as my hair parted, it looked like there were streaks, but I still went through a process of having to try out a whole lot of different products. There's a whole litany of products that are for root cover-up. So there's things that you put on like chapstick, there's things that spray on, there's powder, there's spray, there's even my hairdresser said try mascara. Oh, wow. And so I went through that phase where to cover up and where it wasn't blending. So physically that was a challenging time, you know, where I felt kind of like, you know, this is a lot of stuff that you have to do to, you know, every morning. But that only lasted for about a month. And so that physical challenge didn't take as long. I also had to get my hair, I never wanted to get my hair cut short. If you get your hair cut short, it's over pretty quickly. But like right now, I like this length. I did have to get it cut to about right here during the process. So that was another physical challenge. And then another one that has developed as this white got longer and there's more of it, I realized that there are some challenges physically to keeping it white. And I never knew that before, because it can go yellow. And there was one person that commented on my video. She said, I see that you're using a flat iron. And she said, you can literally get yellow hair from that. I've read then, since for white hair, you can get yellowed from the sun. I know that it will pick up on the makeup that's on my face, so it can get yellow from the makeup. And there's certain shampoos that you buy that, and I knew about those from the white hair on my dog, so I buy the white hair shampoo. Well, they have it for humans too. Yeah. Okay. And so there's everything from the cheap brands to the brands that don't have the, you know, what is that?
Parabens.
Yeah, parabens and things like that.
And all that kind of stuff.
So that was just, you know, that's some physical challenges.
I never would have known that about going yellow.
Yeah. And I noticed when my hair is getting a little bit, I don't wash it every day. And so that will cause me to wash my hair, you know, more frequently, just because I want to keep it white. But yeah, it can turn yellow, and never knew that you had to kind of work at it to keep it white.
Wow.
But it's just shampoo, so it's not like you have to dye it or anything like that.
Yeah.
You know, it's just a matter of cleaning it more often, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Well, you got some really neat reactions as you were growing it out, and it was starting to blend and things from people, just random people. Tell us about some of those things that happened.
Just recently, I'm walking through the grocery store, and all of a sudden, you know, I turn the corner, and this guy turns the corner, and he goes, "Whoa!" He goes, "You're having a good hair day." I mean, they're really like strong reactions. There was one lady too. She was almost like, I was approaching her, and she was like, "Oh wow!" And I was at a conference, and I thought she meant something about the conference. She goes, "No, your hair." And I'm like, "Oh, I never got that. I never got an oh wow my whole life over my hair." So there were some YouTube comments that I just kind of cut and pasted here that I'll read. But this one says, "You look fabulous. I truly believe you look younger with your gray hair. It is truly a beautiful color." Another person said, "Women pay big bucks to get the look you have going on. I've watched all your videos. What a journey. What a payoff. Your silver hair is beautiful. In my opinion, such a rockin' it, confident woman." I ditched the box and am on my own journey. Not as fortunate to have the thick hair you have. Looking forward to your next video. So there's several other comments too that I mean, you can go on YouTube and just type in my name, Deb Arndt, and then there's videos 1 through 13. And those comments have kept me strong. I mean, they've just been so positive, and you know how you can like the video or not like the video. I've probably had some not likes on my videos, and I don't know why, because they don't post, which is good.
Yeah. So
I don't
comments.
want to know why you don't like me. This is hard enough.
Yeah.
So the fact that everybody is that is watching, and I actually have about 9,000 hits on a couple of them, and
Wow.
yeah, I'm up to that on a few, and I'm not sure why they're on some more than others. Maybe it was a more interesting time where it's the in-between time that's so confusing when you're growing it in, and so a lot of people are like, oh, watch that. But in general, I have 3,000 to 4,000 on every single one. So the people that write back, I feel like they have written to me, so I have responded to every single comment back, and so it's really good.
So you have like a little silver community there.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
Yeah. So it is, and they've shared comments, they've shared suggestions, such as the flat iron, such as the different products and the names of products to use to keep the hair white. And a lot of them refer to us as Silver Sisters, and so it's really it is a nice community.
Yeah.
Really neat.
Well, that kind of leads into the next question about the YouTube videos and the video blog, and that's a good way to share your journey and for encourage other people. So it sounds like there's been a lot of positive reaction, and
we can put in the show notes links to her.
Yeah, well, definitely. So everyone go check out her videos. Are you still doing them?
Yeah, I'm about to put out another one, but I'm waiting for my haircut. My hairdresser had a baby. So in the meantime, she cut it so that I could grow it. So I haven't had a haircut for a while, and I want to see what will happen to just this very ending that we have left, and see if somehow, I don't want to get it cut short. My goal is still to keep it long. So I'm not sure. She'll shape it up, and then I'll do another video blog then.
Okay.
But another thing with the blogs that I noticed that was happening is there were certain things that I was realizing along the way, such as colors changed. You can't wear just any color with gray hair. And the colors, like this is a bright blue. So like a royal blue, black, gray, but browns don't look good. Yellows don't look good. There's just certain things that are happening with my wardrobe as a result of it. There's certain things that I felt like wearing because it made me feel like, I don't know, like I was going back to my roots or something of the 70s. So I mean, I've always liked fringe. And I have this whole video on wearing fringe and jean jackets and things like that. So, there's other things in the videos too.
Right.
Cool.
Yes, you've kind of developed this along the way, this concept of self-image, and that could you explain a little bit more about?
Yeah, because I really was struggling with the self-image part of it, to the point, like I described before, that I felt like maybe my friends didn't even want to be around me because I'm too old. So, but I thought, no, that's not me. And I feel young. I've always had the belief that, and it's a very cliche thing, but you're young as you feel. And it's as simple as that. So I've always felt young. I've always felt like I have a very strong child within. Like right now, I could probably just start, laughing and acting very childish on this video blog, but I won't do that.
But you don't bring your mini bongos.
That's right. There's so many things that I like in life that are young, and I like to do so. I still like to dance, and I still like to, play around with my percussion instruments, and I'm an artist, and I like to paint and things like that. So that's what's important, and that's where I feel like as my gray grew in, I felt it stronger and stronger, and I probably feel it the strongest now, because it wasn't until the 12th month that I felt like I looked in a store window and I wasn't disappointed. I liked what I saw. And I feel like it's brought me really strongly back into my roots. I feel more genuine, more real, more believable, more respected. I don't know why. I mean, maybe all that stuff was before, but there was something a little bit about hiding yourself with the color, you know, like looking young and acting, I don't know, maybe like a different, I never really acted like a different person, but it helps me feel better about how I'm acting, because let's just say, for example, I do break into a childlike thing. I think it's even sillier and better and funnier when you've got, you know, the gray hair. Like sometimes I'll see a video online and it'll be like the dad and the daughter dancing. Like there was one recently, and it's just hilarious to me that, but inside, that guy is just who he was in all his life, in his 20s. And so when you break out into your real self with gray hair, then it just becomes more interesting. And so, you know, for some reason, I just, like Carole King says, I feel like a natural woman. You make me feel. But I also recently, you know, I'm feeling very proud of my accomplishment. I feel like it is an accomplishment. I also feel like I won't go back. I mean, this is it. I will never go back to the coloring. And I read this just recently, that there's different shades of gray. Oh, that's another song. But anyway, we've got gray.
You mean that monkey song?
Yeah, Only Shades of Gray. Gray, silver, steel gray, silvery gray, platinum-ish with violet and silver undertones. And this person said that if we look at all those colors of gray, it is a color choice. And so then it's not like this horrible old age thing that's happening to you, because the myth is that gray makes you look old. There's a lot of people in my videos, as a response to my videos, that tell me that, oh my gosh, you look younger in your 13th video than you do in your first video when I had all black hair.
Wow.
And that the black hair was kind of harsh, and that, you know, so it is a myth that it makes you look older. Another myth is that it makes you unattractive and undesirable. And again, that's in how you act, you know, and who you're going to attract in your life and what kind of good energy that you have. And I guess that it's like embracing like a natural phenomena, because no matter what, everybody on this planet is probably going to go gray. I did a little research on it's melanin that stops producing in the hair. And so most people will. Now, I guess there's some 90-year-olds out there that they never did go gray, which is great.
Well, George's mom.
Yeah, George's mom.
Little pieces.
Yeah.
But she was basically brown hair.
Yeah. But this one article said it's like, this is Dr. Desmond Tobin. He's a professor of cell biology at the University of Bradford in England. And he said, he used this term, a melanogenetic clock.
Oh.
So that the follicles of your hair, you know, like it's like destined, you know, to happen, where this melanin will not be produced anymore. But every single follicle in your head is different. So every single one will vary at the rate, some more rapidly than others, and it can take decades. So it's kind of neat when you think about it that way, because it's a natural thing. Some other reasons that they say that it happens is hair produces hydrogen peroxide, and it actually whitens your hair. That's so strange to me.
Wow.
Smoking can also accelerate it, and pollution, things like that, you know. Genetics. They even said obesity and thyroid disorders sometimes affect the gray hair. And stress in life is true. When you have fight or flight syndrome going on, that's a stressor, and that's the type of stressor that really can accelerate
Okay.
the gray hair. So I thought that was pretty interesting stuff.
Yeah, I mean, because people go gray at all different
And it kind of shows why this white is different than the back, because it's oxidizing or whatever it's doing. I don't know if I use that word, but anyway, whatever it's doing, it's doing it at a different rate, even on,
And this is not to say that if you are a person right now watching this who's coloring your hair, we're not saying like, you're just so fake for doing that or whatever. Right. I mean, this is just
it's just another option. There are a lot of people who want to spend the bucks and they want it to go fast. I personally really also mentally did not want it to go faster than it was. I was mentally challenged by the whole thing, so that I needed it to be slow. If I were to do this overnight, which for black hair, I also learned that you cannot strip color off of hair that's been dyed over and over. Now, if it was, virgin hair, then you can strip it and bleach it and then put a silver toner on it. But when it's been colored forever and ever, like mine was, there was no way to do that without the process of chemically treating my hair through many different shades. It would have turned orange and yellow and all that kind of stuff. And then they would have put the silver toner on. Yeah, maybe in a few months' time, it would have gotten to this point. But in the end, it would have been too soon for me mentally too. Mm-hmm. So some people are really, really good at like just putting blue on their hair and pink on their hair, and they have no problem with that. And that's probably where the chemicals for some people are fine, because mentally they can handle that kind of different look. But for me, this was a pretty severe change in my look. And I just have never been that kind of person where, I could do that. Yeah. So
I understand that.
Wow. Now my gray that's coming in seems to be more interspersed. Yep. So I didn't really have to go through that. My battery's running low on my computer. I should have plugged it in. No, I don't think that'll show up, but let me just plug this in real quick. Okay. Because Mallory's the one that's recording.
Oh, okay.
Anyway.
Well, and it goes to show how your follicles of your hair are, like going through the process differently. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But it doesn't really look like I have that much gray hair here, but if you go like this, you can see.
Which is, again, see the underneath hair, and had she dyed only the top part, and then you can see from that's what would start happening under your hair. Right. So, so I like it when you have your hair back and it shows a little more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's like natural highlights.
Yeah. When I first started getting gray hair, I don't know how many years ago that was, but, it was just coming in one hair at a time, and I was actually getting compliments on it. Like people were saying, oh, it's so pretty. It's, it looks like silver, highlights. And one person said, oh, if my gray hair was coming in like that, I would go gray, And then all of my sisters, well, except for the youngest one, were dyeing their hair to some degree at that point. And our mom was dyeing her hair. And I thought, I'm just going to try it. And so for the first time I went to a salon and had it done. And, it was just I got so many compliments after that. People were like, oh my gosh, you look 10 years younger. And, and vanity takes over and you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I want to look 10 years younger. I don't know why. Why do we want to look 10 years younger? I guess that's a basic question too.
Yeah. Well, and
What-
some of the
you know.
things that I've noted along the way is our society teaches us that, and that it's more beautiful to be, younger looking. And I recently finished a series, Frankie and Grace, on Netflix. It's the funniest thing ever, so watch it. But they're in their 70s, so all the men in the show are, white hair or gray hair or whatever, totally, or bald. And the women, not one of them has gray hair except for one. And she comes in on the second season. And if you watch it, I don't even want to tell you what happens, but she doesn't make it. Okay. So,
She starts dyeing her hair?
no, she dies.
She died.
Oh.
So it further makes the example that if you are going gray, you're going to die soon. No, but I know that wasn't their message, but it really was interesting to me when you look at the shows and all. There's not a whole lot of emphasis on, women with gray hair. But there is a whole lot of emphasis on women coloring their hair. And I will have to say, color is beautiful. I love color, and I love all the things that people do with their hair and the highlights and everything like that. But it is a much easier time when your, hair really is fighting that, time where it's not producing the melanin. It's, it's just, it's just so much easier. I would just, it would be, what can you imagine this now if you were looking around at everybody and there was no such thing as coloring? It would be a whole different society, a whole different look, a whole different feel. And since more and more people are doing it, and I notice that other people look at me and I look at them, you know what I mean? Like, we're checking out our gray hair, and is that normal? Is that a natural, or is that, at least that's what's going through my head. And, but I don't know whether it's because I'm noticing it more because of what I'm going through, which is probably true, but I do know that it is a trend right now. So it's quite possible that even, older people are deciding, like, might as well just go for it. All the young people are doing it, so let's go for it. So maybe we will, like, start changing society a little bit by promoting the fact that this feels so great once you get there, whether you get there by coloring your hair gray, or, and then hopefully then the natural stuff starts taking over and you don't have to go through the process of the cap because you've colored it. That's fine. But in the end, is it because you are going to embrace your gray? And if we all start doing that as a society, I think it could really change some of that mindset.
Yeah,
that's a great point. Like, and when you brought up the show with the men, their hair growing gray, I feel like there's this kind of like myth out there that going gray for men is like distinguished, but then for women it makes you look old.
Right.
So that's cool that you're
old and unattractive.
Right. So it's neat that you're trying to, bridge that gap and
yeah.
Women can look distinguished and beautiful with gray hair too.
Yeah, and they do. I've seen so many out there. I've even seen, before I got to this point, there was a lady sitting in the theater and her hair was about my length, and she actually had a similar pattern. And I just thought, oh, that's what I want. I want to look like her. I want my hair to be like that. And sure enough, here we have it. And so that's a nice feeling, though. I'm sure she would be like, what? You want your hair like mine? Normally we don't think that way of people with gray hair, that somebody would come up to somebody else and say, oh, I want my hair to look like yours. We do that a lot when you see a good color job, a good highlighting job, whatever. It's like, oh, who did that? And where do I go to get that? And so, yeah.
Yeah, that's, it's like this whole journey.
Yeah, it's definitely a journey. Definitely.
And some people could start coloring their hair just because they want a different color or whatever, or highlights or something like that. But then you have other cases, like for me, when I was coloring my hair, I just want to try it. I look younger. So I was like embracing coloring my hair because I wanted that self-image of looking younger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but it's almost like I felt like maybe I have more value because I'm younger. And I think that's a myth that we need to
dispel as well.
I mean, I'm fine if you're coloring it just because you want to and whatever, but I feel like, but if you're coloring it because you feel like you're more valuable, I don't know, that I think we should.
Yeah, and in the end, like, say for example, I just recently got a new job and I feel like they hired me based on my experience. So it's like, this is why you hired me, because this is experience. I mean, and I definitely can do a much better job at some things than somebody that is younger, because I have experience, and really this is a mark of experience rather than looking at it as, not as valuable. In some ways, I mean, you could be more valuable because you have the gray hair. And, it does work against you in employment as well, though. People don't want to hire the older, population in many instances. So, so that could be another reason why people keep their color too, because the society also kind of looks down upon, they want to hire the youngins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think what's even more important than the looks, what you were saying about the self-image, like if you feel young and you're and you're acting that out, that's going to show to other people. Like they're going to feel your energy. They're going to see that you're youthful inside. And that's ultimately what's more important than the color of your hair.
Yeah.
I think that's a good message. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
So you're doing that. So we wanted to, with the, getting rid of the chemicals on the hair, but we also wanted to just touch on a little bit of what are some other things you do for your health, like to maintain your health and wellness kind of.
Yeah, well, I eat right. I focus on the fruits and vegetables, things that come from the earth. And long time ago, I found out I couldn't have any red meat, so I've only eaten chicken and fish for years and years, and turkey. But so those are all actually really good lean choices for me. I like yogurt and
Green smoothies.
Yeah, and I've gone gluten-free now for the past couple years, and I make a green smoothie every single morning. I buy quality vitamins and probiotics, and I also deal with doTERRA oils and deal with problems that I have with oils instead of chemicals as well, for any kind of skin. I use that. I use a wood-based oil and a flower-based oil mixed with a moisturizer on my face, because those are really, really good for the layers of skin. But even when I have other, physical things going on, allergies, whatever, I try to do a mixture of oils rather than treating my body with, chemicals as well. Sometimes I have to resort to the antibiotic or whatever, but for the most part, that's my first go-to. And then, you see what happens. Another thing that I do is I use Norwex products, and those are safe and chemical-free. Basically, you can clean your entire house with water, and it will be antibacterialized. I mean, it will, it wipes off bacteria from countertops, just because of the make of the cloth that they use. And so I think those things, there's no skin irritants then, there's nothing that I'm breathing in that's bad. So that also keeps me healthy as well. So I think for fitness, I walk every day. I walk my dogs. I'm not, I do yoga every once in a while with my sister. But yeah, I probably could improve in the fitness arena, which actually one of the benefits to my new job is to have almost a paid for membership to a gym. So I see myself going back and at least taking yoga, Pilates, swimming, things like that. I do like that. And then also the balance is making sure that the job isn't too stressful. And if it is, you got to do something about it. Either you have to leave and find something else, or you have to, find a way to make it less stressful at work. And I diffuse oils, at work and things like that. So that's part of it. I try to keep a positive attitude and stay away from, the negative thinking that can happen in the workplace too. And
starting your day with gratitude.
Yeah, I do. I start every single morning because the first thing I have to do is let the dogs out because they have to go. And so what I literally do is I step out into the grass with bare feet and I say, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And then things just start streaming in. Thank you for my dogs. Thank you for my house. I just start looking around, Thank you that, that this tree is in my backyard. I mean, thank you for anything that comes to mind. It doesn't have to be something, material or anything. It's just thank you that I'm alive today. Thank you, God, that I got up one more day to experience life. And so that's, a really healthy attitude. I also try to balance because I mentioned before that I'm an artist. So, doing my artwork and getting away by myself in that room to do that keeps me balanced, I think, too.
Going back to what you were saying about you go outside and you are barefoot on the grass. Did you read about that?
Well, yeah, I've read a lot of things about where if you can get close to the earth, and there's an actual, I don't know whether it's Tai Chi or another philosophy about stepping on the roots of a tree. And so you go around the roots, and I've actually seen a woman in my neighborhood doing that down at the park. And it's just kind of like a step, where you're stepping and then you're meditating at the same time. But yeah, and it's just such a simple, it grounds you and it makes you feel like you're part of this earth. And you're not going to be on the earth for, it is a very limited time. So it makes you grateful right then and there that, and just to say thank you for who I am and what I have. And, so, and dogs too. Dogs keep you young.
Yeah. They're like kids. They never outgrow that toddler stage.
No,
yeah.
they don't.
And they're always so happy and they greet me, that unconditional love and all that kind of stuff. So that they definitely bring me joy. So.
Well, this was so awesome. Everything you said, I think the listeners will really, I hope, get a lot out of all of what you talked about, even though, like me, like I'm not hopefully going to grow gray anytime soon, although I have found like 3 or 4.
I did see a gray hair on you. When was that? In May. Remember I saw that?
That's right. Yeah.
So I had one like right here. Yeah, you started freaking out.
That hair lost it. It lost its melanin.
Yeah. Or, from stress, I have found them around periods of stress. So who knows? But I feel like I got a lot out of what you said, even though I'm not in that stage of life yet. I'm sure I'll get there eventually. But like the whole mindset, the self-image mindset, I think as women, we can be really hard on ourselves. And that's great for any age.
And I wonder what would happen if, like, at your age, because you're not even 30 yet, right?
I'll be 30 this year. Yeah.
Are you 30 this year? November. So you're in your late 20s. So, but to have these conversations never happened, and I don't know how often they happen at all. And so maybe it is something that, we need to talk about more, because then I would think that maybe that would influence you, Mallory, when you're getting to see that happen, like to go, well, how am I going to embrace this and how am I going to let it happen as it happens? Because if you don't keep dyeing your hair, that's where the problem comes, because if you do it and just keep on growing it out as it comes, then I think the process would be really easy.
Right.
But, it's the problem is dyeing it over and over and then going, I look like a skunk.
Yeah. And, this going white, gray, silver, whatever happens to some people in their starts happening in their 20s. Well, your first violin teacher had
white.
Yeah. But she was totally white by the time she was in her 20s.
Wow.
21 by the time she was.
Oh, by the time she was 21. I mean,
beautiful. Like her pure white, just pure white. Amazing,
and how neat to have such a young face.
Yeah, she did have a young face.
And all the more reason to do it as it happens, because I think then it's beautiful, it just fits together really nicely. It's a different look than,
Yeah, so if any of you out there are struggling with this, have a look at Deb's videos, because they're very encouraging. I've looked at every single one, and I haven't read all the comments. But I can't keep up with all the comments.
Yeah, they're short. Anyway. I try to keep them short enough where, it's, not a big deal to watch them. You could watch if they're 5 minutes long, what's 5 times 13? That's how many minutes it would be.
A little over an hour.
Okay. So that's all, Yeah, so I, really would like to pick up a few more viewers and help other people out, because they've all helped me. So, it's all about helping one another.
Yes.
While you're doing this, right?
Yeah. Well, this is wonderful. And, if the listeners out there, if you want to email us with questions, or you want to get in touch with Deb, just email us at podcast@thebackyardfence.org, and we'll get back to you. So, any closing thoughts?
That's it.
Well, they can go to thebackyardfence.org for show notes, as well as some of the links to her videos.
Yeah.
So.
All right, everyone.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.